And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And twisting together a crown of thorns, they put it on his head and put a reed in his right hand. And kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they spit on him and took the reed and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of the robe and put his own clothes on him and led him away to crucify him. Nothing better demonstrates the concept of original sin than by how willing, even eager, people are to kneel before their fellow man in subjugation, yet at the same time how much they revile the idea of kneeling before their Creator. We covered last lesson how the founders declared, "No king but King Jesus," as they marched into battle in defiance of the earthly king. That wasn't anything new. For centuries, it was the Christians who have always stood against evil laws because they kneel only before the Lord. I say Christians, but to be fair, the tradition is very strong in the Old Testament as well. Daniel, David, Esther, Solomon, Moses are just a few names. Almost every story in Scripture is of those who choose to be ruled by God rather than by arbitrary dictates of men. It continues to today. If you see someone wearing their obedience mask by themselves in a car, what are the odds they're driving to church? Whether it's COVID regulations or statements about gender or any topic, the average person will ignore their own experience, logic, science, and common sense to obey what society tells them and to beat Christ and his disciples for daring to speak the truth. The best part of this is that while these worldly Roman soldiers are beating Jesus as an expression of their hatred for his authority and sovereignty, the event itself is a perfect demonstration of God's complete control and sovereignty. 700 years before the soldier placed a crown of thorns on Jesus' head, God demonstrated that he indeed wears an eternal crown by spelling out the plan of exactly what would go down via his prophet Isaiah. "I gave my back to those who strike, and my cheeks to those who pull out the beard. I hid not my face from disgrace and spitting." I'm so tempted to read my favorite Isaiah 53 again, because it is uncanny how accurately it narrates everything we are covering today, both in actual deed and theological reasoning as to why it's occurring. But I will hold off since I read it so often, and we'll use it next lesson probably as a summary of this one. Instead, a little later, we'll see how David also demonstrated God's complete control of these events with his 22nd Psalm. But we're not quite there yet.